aka Coverboy, and welcome to Late for the Party on Anchor FM and Spotify. Yes, man, I know I am, like I sang to my moniker, Late for the Party, because 9 out of 10 times I'm not getting a chance to get to my quickfire reviews, all that stuff, man. I know, I'm sorry. I'm doing everything I can in my merry way to do whatever I can to get this content out and going. But without further ado, yes, we are going to get into the quickfire review right now, and that is about Avengers Infinity War. So yes, there's going to be bad spoilers, so if everybody who has not seen the movie yet, please don't listen to this unless if you don't care about the movie and like to listen to the sound of my adorable voice and everything else. Please just go ahead and listen. But either way, man, wow, 3 hours and 2 minutes of awesomeness, man. Oh my god. Like, of course the first 2 hours were the slowest part of the film, but overall it was still a good film nonetheless. Pretty much it's pretty sad. I mean, it was sad too, a tear-jerking film and everything, man. So I must say, man, it is very, very, very dope. People die, some folks die. Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna get into it right now. So I'm just gonna say right off top. Oh man, it's pretty much starts off in the beginning to where Iron Man, after the events of it starts off as during the events of Infinity War, Hawkeye is training his daughter how to shoot arrows and use a bow and arrow, while his family is getting ready to have a picnic or a family barbecue or something in that caliber. But during this time, the snap happens. So during this time, his family turns into dust and they disappear. So pretty much he's sitting there. Well, he's not sitting there. He's looking around for them and everything. And pretty much we go to Iron Man playing triangle football with Nebula out in space. They were trying to work on getting the ship fixed and everything else that crashed into Thanos. Yeah, man, it's kind of hard to talk about because it is kind of sad in the process, because fuck it, y'all, pretty much Iron Man dies. So, like, I mean, there's a lot of things about it. Iron Man dies, fucking Black Widow dies by sacrificing herself to get the Soul Stone. So I'm like, wow, like, I was not expecting those deaths. Oh, Thanos gets his head cut off by Thor off jump in the beginning of the movie. So technically, Thanos died in the beginning half of the film, but then Guardians of the Galaxy Thanos from 2014 is pretty much the main villain of this story. So, which is pretty interesting. So, I like how logically Thanos, like, takes in the fact that, like, oh, his future self got killed. Not just killed, but decapitated. So, you know, and he's just logical about his shit. So it's fucking crazy, dude. Oh, we get Banner Hulk, which is like the fused versions of the Hulk, which is like cool but not cool at the same time, because it's like, you know, you didn't really see, like, there's like I like that version of the Hulk in the comic books because, you know, he was like a superhero, you know, like he was doing his thing, and, you know, he was like, that was one of the favorite comic books of me growing up, of the Hulk, because it was like, this Hulk version was like smart as hell, but he was like but he had the cunnings of the Gray Hulk. He had the strength of the Green Hulk, but he had Banner's intelligence. So it was supposed to be a fused version of them, but then it wound up just being a version, a different personality of the Hulk. So they call him Professor Hulk, or Banner Hulk, or Dr. Banner, or Dr. Hulk. But either way, that was one of my favorite versions of the Hulk. But it's just, to me, I think it's a little problematic how they use the Hulk. Like, I know he's still on loan with Universal, because Universal still owns the rights to the Hulk. That's why he hasn't had his own movie in the MCU, because the Incredible Hulk was actually a Universal film, but the MCU added the Stark Tech and everything else in the film. So, but yeah, I took back from that one a little bit. It's kind of like, damn. I mean, I was expecting freaking him to get some get back for Thanos. I mean, but technically he kind of did, because when the team of Captain Marvel, Captain America, Rocket, Nebula, Black Widow, War Machine, and and the Hulk, and Thor, they went to the planet that Thanos was at and basically fucked his ass up. So, I mean, not only he got his fucking arm cut off, he got his fucking head cut off, he got his fucking arm cut off. So I'm just like, damn. But before all that happened, he wound up using the stones again. He wound up using the Infinity Stones again to destroy them, and literally fucked his whole shit up. So he could do what he undone by doing this while doing the snap. So call it fucked up and everything, but yeah, he got what he deserved. And fucking Nebula was sitting there talking about, they were like, he's got to be lying, they got to be somewhere. And Nebula's like, my father is plenty of many things, but a liar he is not. And Nebula's just like, yeah, thanks for acknowledging me, that your daughter, and everything else. And swoosh, Thanos, Thor off Thanos' head. Shit. I was not expecting that. I jumped in my seat like, oh shit! That's how I said it too. I was like, oh shit! He was like, what did you do? I went for the head. So, ask and you shall receive, motherfucker. So, then speed up 5 years later. But I know I skipped a lot of shit, but I'm gonna jot back and forth a little bit. So, before all that happened as well, freaking Stark and Nebula get saved by Captain Marvel, and they go straight. She sends them back to Earth, because after Captain Marvel, she gets the beeper call. She gets beat by Nick Fury right before he gets snapped. So when at the end of Captain Marvel, she's like, "Where's Fury?" But then obviously they let it be known that somebody let it be known. Oh, who let it be known that Thor? Oh, not Nick Fury. Dr. Banner, Bruce Banner. He wound up letting them know that Iron Man was still out in space and everything, so I guess they wound up finding him. Obviously something had to happen where oh, okay, he's going to Titan, so like he's obviously out there. So Captain Marvel saves Nebula and Stark, and pretty much that was how that went down. Even though Stark didn't really get a chance to eat anything, so he's out of his suit, he's like malnourished and all of that, so he's all kinds of fucked up right now. So but yeah, man, talk about, and love the CGI on how they managed to make Stark shrivel up. I mean, we're talking about MCU who made Stark look young in Civil War, so I mean, that was nuts. I mean, and so much stuff in there, like it made freaking Captain America look like a shriveled up prune, and where he looked skinny as all outdoors, like he was malnourished. And it's kind of funny to me, like, I don't know if anybody like put 2 and 2 together, but it was like kind of like Captain America and Iron Man's paths were like almost somewhat paralleling to a degree, because it was like Iron Man was like, you see Iron Man shriveled up, like how Captain America was shriveled up one time before he got the super soldier serum. Like he wasn't at death's door, but he was definitely not in a good way. But I don't know, man, like it was like, you know how like their stuff kind of paralleled each other, even though they're both dynamic opposites of each other, you know. Captain America strives off of courage, while Tony strives off of intelligence. It's pretty interesting how you like look at their dynamics, and it was a beautiful thing seeing them actually get over themselves at this time in the film, because you know they didn't really get over the fact of what happened in Civil War. You know, so they never really got a chance to resolve it, because I wound up watching Infinity War again. I realized that they didn't even run into each other in Infinity War. You know, they mentioned one another, but that was about it. So that's kind of crazy. I just thought about that too. I'm like, damn, okay. But there was a couple of things. All right, so Scott Lang comes back. Scott Lang gets out of the quantum realm due to a mouse running around in the van, but by sheer luck, he wound up getting out. He wound up getting out of the quantum realm 5 years later, even though in the quantum realm it feels like he's been in there for 5 hours. So luckily, and like to me, I think the quantum realm was definitely the key components in this film, because yeah, this wound up becoming a time heist film, as Scott Lang said. Now keep in mind, Scott Lang is a professional thief, so I'm actually happy, like, the dynamic, because, I mean, at one point in time, I was thinking to myself that why are they not using Hank Pym, but they're going with Scott Lang? But now seeing Ant-Man and Ant-Man and Wasp, and him in Civil War, and him being in the last couple films, like, now it worked. I mean, the only things I could take away from it, like, you know, I wish he was on the team a lot sooner than that, but I think his presence being in the film now, it worked out so well. Who would have ever thought that a guy who could shrink and grow would be like the MCU's darling? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Iron Man. Like, Captain America's like at probably like number 5, number 4, in between like in between freaking, like, him and Thor. I think that's kind of like a revolving door. Even though Thor has kind of, like, gotten up there due to the fact that, like, they kind of made, like, Thor the buddy pro Thor. Like how, like, he does. And, like, I like how they... Speaking of Thor, let's get into that. Now, I kind of taken it back a little bit to how they, like, after the snap, and after he decapitated Thanos, like, he pretty much was, like, how they made him all pudgy and everything and fat. I was kind of, like, taken back by that a little bit, because I'm like, oh, I kind of want to see Thor get his comeuppance as well, because not only that Thanos damn near killed the majority of his entire race, but, he killed his brother and killed his boy Heimdall and everything else. Like, they don't really mention a lot of, like, the previous deaths either. Like, they kind of leave a lot of that hanging. I noticed. And I kind of question, like, how did Valkyrie escape? How did, like, every other Asgardian escape? How did Korg and fucking Meek escape? Like, how did they even get out of there? Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure Heimdall was teleporting people away. Heimdall was probably teleporting people away, of course. They didn't make no mention of it, but if they have a DVD of, like, extras and all of that stuff, I will watch that shit. Because, there's a lot of stuff that kind of, like, leaves you, like, dialed back, like, okay, how did they get there? When did they get back? And stuff like that, like, where the fuck was Wong after he, like, after freaking Ebony Maw and Obsidian came over and tried to fuck him up after went in battle with Doctor Strange and Iron Man and Spider-Man up in Infinity War. Man, but either way, dude, like, oh god. And then we go to the time heist. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. So Iron Man gets back to being Iron Man, gets back to being Tony Stark. He starts, 5 years later, he's got a child. His child is a girl. Her name is Morgan. And, they pretty much, him and Pepper, they're married. They got a child. They're damn near vegan. Oh, man, it was a lovely thing. But, now he's like, the damage has been done. I've been I'm a father now. I have to live what I gotta live with. Like 5 years later, everybody's, freaking Steve is, Captain America's basically doing focus groups and, talking like, kind of like snaps, the Thanos Anonymous after the snap. Everybody's going through, like, trying to cope with whoever they lost and, trying to move on with their lives. And obviously, like, it's not working out for nobody. Nobody in this crew felt like it was gonna work. Thor, he's sitting here drinking and eating bad shit. This nigga got fat and muscular. So how do you get muscle fat? This is how fucking Kingpin is basically supposed to look like. Like, he's not like roly-poly, but I was expecting Thor, not Volstagg. Like, they turned Thor into Volstagg. And, that was a trip. So, but then, like, Korg and Meek are over there chilling and everything. So, they're sitting there playing video games. And so Rocket and Banner Hulk goes to New Asgard. they meet up with Valkyrie. She tells them that, you know what, he's not gonna talk to you guys. Like, you know, he still feels some kind of way after what he did. But, like, you know, hey, you know, he killed Thanos, but the problem is like, it was a hollowed victory from this point, because it's like, you know, his family's gone. His father's dead. His mother's dead. His sister's dead. Well, she was trying to kill him in Thor Ragnarok, but she's dead. His Asgard's gone. His boy Heimdall, Idris Elba's dead. I mean, a lot of people lost their lives. You know, like, the Warrior 3 are gone. So it's like, a lot of folks are definitely, like, you know, they feel some kind of way, you know, and I was feeling for them. Like, I was kind of, like I said, I was kind of taken back a little bit about him being fat, but then again, like, the movie was basically, like, 5 years later, like, motherfuckers was really depressed and going through a lot of depression. I mean, even Black Widow and Black Widow was feeling some kind of way. I mean, I ain't never seen Black Widow, like, kind of, like, distraught over, like, trying to make decisions, and she's, like, kind of, like, stumbling over what she wants to do. Like, Okoye had to put her in her place about, like, yo, the volcano is underwater. All we can do is just let it do what it do, okay? Like, fuck that. Like, we are Wakanda. We're not, like, fucking... Wakanda can do many things, but one thing we're not gonna fucking do is fuck with a volcano underwater. Okay? Straight out. She didn't say it, like, in that term, but she definitely, like, got her thoughts across when it came down to that. But, you know, everybody was feeling some kind of way, dude. Like, the only, like, spark of hope that was pretty much Scott Lang, man. Ant-Man. Ant-Man was like, no, we can do this. We can get this going. I mean, even for, like, Banner Hulk, he was, like, coping with the fact, like, he was coping with it a little bit too, which I was like, okay, like, coming from the guy whose life is full of tragedy, they finally get him to get better at the things that he was doing. So, like, now they fuse both Hulk and Banner together to where, okay, then that makes perfect sense. So, between, like, the Doctor and the Thief, they were the one, and Captain America too, he wasn't really, like, even though to me, I think, like, he was just a guy lost in time in general, due to the fact that, like, you know, he lost his whole timeline, he lost everything, so, you know, but, you know, and he still lost his first love, Peggy Carter, so, even though she died of old age, and, she had either dementia or Alzheimer's, one of those. But when she passed away, of course, that probably was pretty heavy on his heart. So, I mean, it was dope. It was dope how they were, like, showing how all the Avengers, after the snap and after killing Thanos, how they were dealing and coping with all of the drama of what was going on after the fact. So, I mean, that was some heavy shit. Like, I'm not gonna front. Some funny parts, definitely funny. But, like, when you think about the graph of the magnitude of, like, people losing their families and everything else, that was pretty, intense to be for a comic book movie. Like, you know, like, how to deal with depression, and it didn't work. As powerful as you can be depressed just as much. I mean, fuck, you got Thor, a god of thunder, fucking depressed that, you know, not only he lost his family, got his ass whooped, I mean, and I mean, let's just say it, like, it was not a good look for the ass. Woo, hold up. Gotta take a little quick commercial break on that one. Cause, the boy need to wet his whistle, so I'm gonna leave off right there real quick. Because, you know, I don't want to lose track, but we're going to go back to right where Thor is dealing with his depression. So, coming back from a quick commercial break. See you guys in a sec.